जय हिंद दोस्तों, मैं हूं मेजर मोहम्मद अली शाह। मेरे को बड़ी खुशी हो रही है कि मैं अपने एक ऐसे इलस्ट्रियस सीनियर के साथ अभी गुफ्तगू में होऊंगा जो तारुफ के कोई मोहताज नहीं है। आपने अक्सर सुना है कहानियां कि लोग एस्पायर करते हैं आईएएस ब्यूरोक्रेट बनने का। ठीक है, एक ऐसा सुहाना सफर जो आर्मी के भी लोग ड्रीम करते हैं कि भाई वर्दी पहननी है ना। वर्दी भी पहनी इन्होंने। आई वुड कॉल इट बेस्ट ऑफ बोथ वर्ल्ड्स। He's seen the military life. He's had a very, very illustrious career in the army. In fact, he was commissioned in December 2001 in 18 guards, and he hung up his boots mid of 2022 to become a bureaucrat. And here we are. Well, let's go ahead and ask how this journey, this transformation from army to being a bureaucrat has been. Let's welcome Lieutenant Colonel Amol Awate. Sir, Jai Hind, sir, and
Jai Hind,
thank
Jai
you
Hind,
very much for
Mohammed.
spending
Very
time,
nice.
sir.
Thank you. Very nice connecting to you.
Sir, thank you, sir. Such an honor, sir. Such an honor. Sir, let's talk about your journey as a child. We all know you are from one of the best colleges in the country, in fact, from Ferguson College. And I'm not being biased over that because I am myself from Ferguson College, but I genuinely mean it. But before Fergie, as a student in school, what was your aspiration? What was your dream? Was it to join the army, to be a bureaucrat, or it was something else?
I always wanted to join army, and in my family there has been no one who has ever donned a uniform, and but I always very had a very strong feeling that I will like to become an officer. So when as a kid, many a times we used to see the rank structure of army, and then very early in life, I had decided that one day I'll become a major, because major was something which was very a powerful word at that time. I never thought general is bigger than a major, but everyone thought major sab is a very big thing. So I always wanted to become a major, and so happy that joining the army and doing almost 21 years and going home as a lieutenant colonel is a cherry on a cake by getting one rank extra. But as a child, yes, definitely I wanted to become an army officer, and I'm so lucky and so fortunate that I got the opportunity to be one.
Sir, you are so humble and so down to earth, you know. I mean, it is really, when I spoke to you, when I connected with you, and the way I was very, बहुत डरा हुआ था मैं कि भाई सीनियर ब्यूरोक्रेट को फोन कर रहा हूँ। सीनियर ऑफिसर पहली बात, तो ऊपर से सीनियर ब्यूरोक्रेट, पता नहीं सर डांट ना दे, हड़का ना दे। And sir, you were so nice. You on the phone, you embraced me like a brother officer, and I was so touched. I was so moved. तब से मैं आपके गुण गा रहा हूँ all over. I mean, really, sir, मैं कायल हो रखा हूँ आपके साथ तब से।
Thank you
So,
so much.
sir, so after your schooling, did you think of joining the NDA? या आप फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज ही आ गए सर?
See, I tried for NDA. I gave the NDA exam thrice, and
Oh
I
wow!
went to I
What
went
is
to
it? I'll have to pause here. What a story! What a story! This is something very, very inspirational. So I tried for the NDA as well. I failed the entrance test, and nevertheless I went to the OTA. But this is a real inspirational story for people who are listening to us, especially youngsters who aspire to become bureaucrats or become military officers. Here's a story of a gentleman who didn't get through thrice in NDA, but yet went to the best colleges in the country, became an army officer, and today he's a highly respected bureaucrat. So please, sir, please continue, sir.
So first attempt I failed in my written, second attempt I failed in my SSB, and third attempt I did qualify. But by that time I had already finished my first year of graduation in Ferguson. So many people recommended that instead of doing your first year of graduation again going back to NDA and just to save your seniority, you should try and attempt combined defense services, which is as far as equal examination compared to NDA, and then join the army. And incidentally, that happened. I appeared for the combined defense services in my last year of graduation, and I was fortunate enough to clear it in my first attempt. By this, I think I saved a year, because when I met my people who were in my third attempt of NDA, they were for the SSB with me. When I was a third termer and passing out, they had just joined, IMA. So almost 1.5 years afterwards, they joined. So almost I saved about a year of seniority in that. And that is how I ended up into Indian Military Academy. Also, I will like to mention over here that in 3 years, when I was in Ferguson College, I was an NCC cadet. and I had a wonderful experience as a NCC cadet. I was all India best cadet.
Rajiv Pillai, Tappan,
Yes,
and
yes, yes, yes.
and Captain Wankhede.
Correct, Wankhede.
सर
Correct,
मैं भी
correct,
था,
correct.
मैं भी एनसीसी में था फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज में, तो
We
आई
must have
मीन
met actually. हम कहीं ना कहीं मिले जरूर होंगे,
अच्छा,
पर just by chance कि हमारा पता नहीं था कि आगे जाके हम आर्मी में जाएंगे और एक साथ 20-22 साल
करेक्ट.
बाद बात भी करेंगे कभी ब्रॉडकास्ट के ऊपर. We never thought. I actually had I did the RDC 1999. Then I went to youth exchange program to Bangladesh. Then for the Republican Day Parade 99, I was All India Best Cadet. And I did my first the parade on the Rajpath in 1999. Afterwards, again, I did it in 2004 when I commanded Brigade of Guards, and Brigade of Guards actually came first in Army Day Parade also and the Republican Day Parade also. So that is
सर
what my
क्या
journey, or
बात है,
that is
क्या
what
बात
my inspiration from the NCC to Army is.
है. कुछ तो बात है फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज के एनसीसी में कि फर्ग्यूसन कॉलेज के एनसीसी ज्यादातर मैं देखा है अनुमान तौर पे जो लोग जाते हैं वो कर्तव्य पथ, हमारे टाइम पे राजपथ था, उस पे जरूर लीड करते हैं, उस पे मार्च करते हैं जरूर. तो मैं देखा है सर ये बात. एंड यू आर
उसका
एन
कैसे
क्लासिक एग्जांपल ऑफ दैट
Yeah,
सर.
what happens is that Pune is the educational hub of complete Western India. People who go to Pune, invariably, people who go to Ferguson College, invariably are very high in their graduation or maybe their 12th standard marks. So obviously, people who are generally higher in their performance of studies, they will generally do better in life. And that is how it is. Like if you try and calibrate TES entry, what we have got in Army now, TES entries are doing exceedingly good every year. It is just because they join at a very high level of educational qualification, like getting 85%, 87%. And obviously, coming into Army, they continue with their course gradings that way. So obviously, TS people will do well. That's what happens in Ferguson College also. The intake of people who come to Ferguson at the selection level itself is very high. So all people, I have met so many people from Ferguson in bureaucracy. I have met wonderful people in the Army. Also, I have met a couple of them in corporate. They are doing exceedingly good.
Absolutely, sir. So, and I did the RDP. I led the Assam Rifles marching contingent in the year 2008, sir. And
Wow.
और दोनों पाँव में स्ट्रेस फ्रैक्चर हो रखे थे सर. तो आरडीपी क्या भूत बनता है सर हमारा. वहां पे उस्ताद बुलाता है, कोई ऑप्शन नहीं, कुछ नहीं, साहब फ्लैट फुट कैरी ऑन, दौड़ के चलेगा सर. और जोश तो इतना कूट कूट के भरा हुआ था सर. व्हेन आई वुड स्टैम्प, मैं कुछ ज्यादा ही जोर से स्टैम्प मारा था टू शो enthusiasm. So I developed stress fracture in both my legs. Magar, I did the parade, sir. That's the best part of it. And I would attribute it a lot to my schooling, to my college, to the grooming that we had, sir. In fact, sir, जब academy में थे, why you focus? You knew कि कौन सा arm choose करना है. You want to join the Brigade of the Guards, or were you an SF opti like most of us are? Normally first term and second term तक फंडे क्लियर हो जाते हैं. नहीं अब एसएफ में नहीं आता भैया, बहुत लगना खाने यहीं पे काफी है. So what was it like? How was it when you were in academy, sir? Did you make up your mind about the choice of arm?
Yeah, I always wanted to join the armored corps. So there's a block system we know when we pass out from the Indian Military Academy. So I was somewhere in the middle block, must be fifth block. I was in the fifth block, and there were almost 9 blocks. We had must be much more than that. It was a massive course, almost 600 officer trainees, like the GCs passed out that year. And in our block there were 2 seats for armored, there were 2 seats for mech, and the 2 seats for armored, we had a parental claim for both the seats. One was PC1, and at that time there used to be PC3, that if your father is commissioned into the same armored regiment. And so I was not very positive as far as getting armored. So second option was mechanized infantry. So I opted for the second option, and that is how I landed up into Brigade of Guards, it being a mechanized part of mechanized infantry.
So, and that again a fancy uniform था. I mean, यहाँ पे the guards पहले लगता है कि बहुत academy में हम लोग थे. A commandant, first commandant, we had 2 commandants. General Sudhir Mohan was our first commandant, and then General Avasti from Rajput. So General Sudhir Mohan जब आए थे, Brigade of the guard लगते अरे बड़े glamour लगता था हमको uniform में. And so most of us were all, we did not know Brigade of the Guards करती क्या है, make and fact क्या है, हमें ये सब नहीं मालूम था. तो वो वर्दी पहनी थी, यहाँ पे गार्ड लिखा हुआ. Sir, December 2001 you got commissioned, and immediately after that we all know the Operation Parakram had started, and उसी टाइम पे पार्लियामेंट अटैक्स हुए थे December 11th को एंड 2001 में, उसके बाद 2002 के आसपास के अर्ली में और पराक्रम स्टार्ट हुआ था. तो उस दौरान आप कहाँ पे थे सर, और आपका रोल क्या था सर?
8th of December, we passed out. And so there is that leave of almost 3 weeks. And I was supposed to join my battalion by end of December. And on 21st of December, the parliament attacks took place. And then on 22nd itself, I got a call from my unit that you have to just cancel your leave and wherever you are, just join the unit. So at that time, my unit was in Babina. So I started from Pune, landed up in Babina. Our OC rear used to be there. He just handed over a packet of lunch to me, and with the same train, I proceeded to Delhi. And I still remember reaching Delhi, and then all trains going towards the western sector, that is Rajasthan and Punjab. I was, I traveled without a reservation from Pune to Delhi. The only good thing which happened that I was provided, warm lunch at my unit location in Babina. So I was mentally prepared
झेलम
that.
एक्सप्रेस पकड़ोगी. झेलम
Sorry,
एक्सप्रेस में, झेलम एक्सप्रेस उसमें एक फौजी
Jhelum,
टुकड़ा
very
रहता
right.
है, उसमें एक फौजी टुकड़ा एंड में. मैं उसमें
Wait,
अक्सर ट्रैवल कर चुका हूँ.
I'm coming to the same thing. So दिल्ली पहुंचे, तो दिल्ली पहुंचने से पहले ओसी ने कॉल्ड अप कि आगरा कैंट उतर जाना और आगरा कैंट से मंडोर एक्सप्रेस मिलेगी. Get hold to the Mandor Express. And वो फौजी जैसा he told me कि no reservation, just mount the train wherever you get, board the train and just FO. ठीक है. So I came and I was apprehensive as always. चलो अभी जाके दो और धक्के खा के जाना है 2 दिन के लिए. And then at 6:37 the Mandor Express comes to Agra Cant. I boarded the Agra Cant. I opened the AC 2-tier coupe, the bogie, and what I see, every person sitting in AC 2-tier is in combat dress, and every person is an army officer. And there's such a welcoming sign. Aja, aja, tu bhi aa raha hai hamare sath, come here, come here. And then they gave me a passage between 2 seats, and I lied down on the floor of Mandor Express. To my left was my coastmate, to my right was my coastmate, and people were sleeping as per seniorities. The lieutenants were sleeping on the ground, the majors and lieutenant colonels sleeping on the berth, which is the lower berth, and the upper was dedicated for colonels and above. And it was fun. It was fun to travel for 2 days with them. And then finally we reached Jodhpur, and from there our unit vehicles had come to pick us up. That was a lifetime, thing which I always, always be fresh in my mind.
अरे क्या बात है सर, क्या बात सर. जोधपुर से अगुलाय करीब में ही है, आप अगुलाय की साइड में थे क्या आप?
नहीं, we had gone towards बाड़मेर की तरफ.
ओके, बाड़मेर की तरफ. जी सर. सर वाओ, दिस इज लाइक दिस एक्चुअली मेरे को आई कुड सी एवरीथिंग, आई कुड विजुअलाइज, बिकॉज़ पूना टू दिल्ली मैंने ये झेलम एक्सप्रेस कई बार, जब मैं कॉलेज में भी था, वो डिपेंडेंस कार्ड के साथ भी मैंने उस फौजी डिब्बे में सफर किया है अक्सर. अरे सर क्या बात है, अमेजिंग. एंड आई लव द वे यू मेंशन कि जैसे आपने बोला था कॉम्बैट फौजी, अरे तुम भी
कोई था ही नहीं, because they were all trained, they were waiting कि कौन यंगस्टर मिल जाए. And one every station there was a couple of youngsters. कोई जयपुर से चढ़ रहा है, कोई आगरा कैंट से आ रहा है, 4-5 of them, and everyone is traveling in uniform. We were told to travel on uniform, so we'll get priority. And it was fun. The train was complete. There was not a single civilian in the complete train. That train was supposed to be a civilian train, but there was no one to travel because it's almost as good as war taking place. And the train was full. All like the sleeper class were full of JCOs, and ACs were full of officers. And no ticket. No one asked me a ticket. Nothing. You just go and board the train wherever you find it. Just go on uniform. No one will check you for anything.
वाओ सर, वाओ सर, वाओ. आपने जो पता है मेरे, लाइक आपको मेजर साहब बना था ना, मेरे को सर लेफ्टिनेंट साहब बना था. दो आई न्यू अबाउट द फौजी रैंक स्ट्रक्चर. मेरे को एक बार कमीशन मिल जाए, एक बार 2 स्टार लग जाए कंधे पे, मतलब दुनिया. मेरे लिए लेफ्टिनेंट वाज द रैंक which was superior to, though I knew lieutenant was the junior most rank, ऐसा नहीं कि मेरे को नहीं मालूम था. But for me personally, I felt lieutenant मतलब दुनिया जहां कब्जे में कर दी. एक लेफ्टिनेंट साहब थे, मेरे को अब तक याद है, फिरोजपुर में. I was in class 6 that time. So my father was Colonel GS that time to General Padmanabhan. He was commanding the 7th div that time. और बाद में वो चीफ बने. So तब एक लेफ्टिनेंट साहब थे जो मेरे को मिले थे, and he had a bullet. He would write bullet in his 2 stars and लेफ्टिनेंट मतलब बहुत बड़ी तोप चीज होती है. लेफ्टिनेंट मतलब लेफ्टिनेंट.
But that is what it is actually. Lieutenant बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है. There is no doubt. Actually, people who become lieutenant, they don't realize the value of being a lieutenant. Otherwise, you see the competition when you appear for the NDA examination or CDS examination, you see the number of people appearing and the number of people actually becoming lieutenant. You should ask all those people who fail. And I think lieutenant is a very big post. And, we are so privileged that one time in our life, we ever got an opportunity to wear those 2, shining stars on our shoulders.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. And I say that those 2 stars on our shoulders is worth much more than a million in the sky.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
sir. तो आपने एक तो पीओपी में वो 2 स्टार लगाए, फिर अगला आपका दौरान वो था वो 2 स्टार लगाने का जब आप स्टेशन पे थे, जब आप ट्रेन में थे, तो यू मस्ट बी गेटिंग द किक्स, आप यू एंड योर कोर्समेट्स के भाई लेफ्टिनेंट साहब की रैंक्स पहन रखी है, दुनिया जहां कब्जे में कर दी बिल्कुल.
Yes, yes, yes. The molar was always high, and we consider ourselves so lucky that the moment we passed out in a week, war was declared. And war Parakram was as good as declaration of war. It was mobilization
Yes,
of complete A vehicles, and complete tanks had gone to the complete armored formations had gone to the border area. So we're so happy and so energetic that how lucky we are. After 71 war, the day we pass out, in next week war is declared. Correct. Even our seniors, like 107 and 108 regular, those people also had, because during their time there was a backlog of Kargil. So those people also had to spend some time in academy before they were let out and they joined their units, because there was a Kargil thing going on. But in our case, we were so lucky. The day we passed out, in a week after finishing our basic training, we were into the war zone. So that is something, was really a great privilege.
सर वाओ, आई मीन ये सुन के आई मीन आई फील सो. तो मैं एक्चुअली 2002 में आया ओटीए में. आई विश आई हैड कम उससे पहले, थोड़ा बड़े अलग ही फीलिंग आती है सर, बिल्कुल बहुत ही अलग ही फीलिंग आती है सर. एनीवे, तो उसके बाद पराक्रम हुआ, देन यू हैड अ वेरी वेरी इलस्ट्रियस करियर इन द आर्मी, एंड आफ्टर द एंड आपने आईएएस का माइंड कब मेकअप किया सर? व्हाइल इन सर्विस, वाज इट देयर बैक ऑफ योर माइंड बिफोर दैट, और हाउ वाज इट सर?
See, I have been posted to number of occasions where I have closely interacted with IAS officers. My first interaction was when I was in Rashtriya Rifles, where the DC of Baramulla town, I was with 46 Rashtriya Rifles. So we met a couple of DCs during my tenure, because an army officer serves for a duration of 2.5 years, but an IAS officer serves invariably for a period of a year or so. So I had an opportunity to interact closely with the SSP of Baramulla and the DC of Baramulla. Half of them were from the state services and half of them were regular recruits, that is directly IS. So that was the first exposure where I realized that what learnings in army can actually be very fruitfully employed if you become a IS officer or a IPS officer. At that time, there was also provision of limited competitive examination. If in 2012 it
Yes,
had come where they had plans to directly recruit army officers and the paramilitary forces officers into the Indian police service, carrying forward their pay and their seniority. So that was the juncture at which the first time the thing clicked to me. Subsequently, when I was again in United Nations, so I was there in Congo, and again I got an opportunity to meet two revenue service officers over there, and that was the second point where I interacted with them, and I realized that people are actually very intellectually sound. People do talk a lot of logic. If we in army carry a huge feeling for nationalism, we carry a huge feeling for doing good and great for our country. Even those people, even the bureaucrat at that time, do carry a very strong feeling. And but maybe their aspect of putting out work is very different. IRS officer must be thinking about strict implementation of taxation. He must be thinking about GST. He must be thinking about bank rates and repo rates. As we think about a combat team, or we talk about a platoon level weapons, or we talk about the strike core and a holding core. So a person will talk something else from his own domain. But I realized that the overall aim of everyone was towards nation building. And so I always had a feeling that if ever I get an opportunity to become a bureaucrat, I will not let it go. And so during COVID in 2019, when COVID started, there was a complete shutdown, there nothing to do. So I just one fine day, I thought, let me check what is the eligibility for the state services. But I was not very sure about the Indian administrative services. Then I went into details, and then I realized that, okay, under the different relaxations available for the ex-servicemen, I think I should get one chance. So I got this one chance just by about 8 or 9 days. If I would have been born 9 days late, so I was not eligible for this. So it is just by chance I got this opportunity. And till the time I joined Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, I was not sure that am I eligible or not. So you can
wow.
imagine, giving prelims, passing it, passing mains, passing interviews. I was topper amongst the interview candidates. and then coming into the merit, getting allotted IAS, you joining the academy, and still I was apprehensive. Am I eligible or not? I had put up my papers, I had taken permission from the army to appear for the examination. But when I joined academy, after 3 months, all your previous documentation is checked for 3 months. As to, are your claims for the age relaxation army true? Because they will approach the defense minister and check that was this person an officer in the army because he has taken age relaxation. So this goes on. The background check goes on for about 4 to 6 months once you are already into the academy. So after 6 months, I was assured that okay, there is no point has been raised by anyone, so I am into a safe zone, and I can convince myself that you are into the Indian administrative services. So it just happened eventually. But yes, there was a lot of hard work for 2.5 years, but that was a part of career building. Though I really had spent some of the best time studying for the civil services.
Wow, so wow. And of course, your experience in the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy in Mussoorie, after you cross library चौक से आप राइट को मुड़ जाते हैं, फिर वहां से आप academy की तरफ जाते हैं. How was your experience at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy after the military academy and after the army service, and how was it like for you, sir? What are the differences you saw? फौजी ट्रेनिंग में और ब्यूरोक्रेट की ट्रेनिंग में, सर?
Okay, wonderful experience. The academy is on a top of a hill, and once you go to the academy, you're in a, if there is Jannat, so that is what Jannat is all about. You can, on one side you can see complete Himalayas, on the other side you can see mountains and jungles for kilometers together, and every day you're interacting with some of the brightest minds in the country. Like almost 75% of my batchmates for the Indian administrative services are engineers. People have been into IIT, people have done 2 years PGDB from IIMs, and then after working for 2 years, people have come there. There are doctors, there are lawyers, and the average age of an officer joining academy to the Indian administrative services is 30 years. So the qualification age is 21, but the average age of the complete course is almost 29 to 30 years. So, people are very mature. You make good friends. As far as the comparison between Indian Military Academy and Labasana is, IMA is very strict. Here, the worst, like IMA, the worst punishment, I guess, can be route march for 20 kilometers with all your battle loads. In
खतरनाक.
Labasana, the worst punishment is on Sunday, sitting in the library for 4 hours. That
Oh
is the worst
wow,
punishment you can get.
that's good. That's good. ये तो अच्छा है. ये तो बड़ा
That
अच्छा
is
है.
the
तो
worst. Yeah. But other thing about Labasana which I observed, there is so much of freedom in academy. Asking a doubt to a platoon commander in a LDM was a big thing. But here, you can, if there is a defense secretary or there is a finance secretary, there is a chief minister of a state, even there is, the governor coming, people just get up and ask. And it is motivated right from the director level to the lowest level, that here is the place where let your mind just open up completely. You may ask a foolish question, but that foolish question is completely logical when you ask here as a officer trainee. Just open your mind. And so every day there is a guest lecture. Every day you find the best of the people in their own field. It may be corporate, it may be governance, it may be politics, it may be you say it. And that's those people are there in academy. And the education, the exposure, the learning which is taught to us in Labasana, which is much more broader in scale. In army, though it is smaller in case, but it is the requirement of being a good platoon commander. A platoon commander who is going to command, say, 24 troops, he should be very well versed with his weapon system. He should be very well versed with his troops. He should be very well versed with his equipment, or maybe with the tactics. So that is the two major differences I find. In academy, you think you conduct yourself in a very broad way. That is the requirement of an IAS officer. But in army, as a lieutenant, you are bit smaller in your view, because that is the requirement. Army lieutenant, it is not required for him to understand as to where the strike corps should attack. He should know, as a platoon commander, how should he deploy his platoon in a section strength, and how should the sections be deployed on a mountain ridge. That is what his understanding is. So I think there are differences, but both experiences were wonderful.
Wow, so wow. सर मैं एक और चीज याद आई, आपने ये कहा था कि लेफ्टिनेंट इज अ ब्यूटीफुल रैंक, एंड इट इज एक्चुअली, मैं तो मानता हूं कि फौज में बेस्ट रैंक तो लेफ्टिनेंट है. यू कैन गेट अवे विद मर्डर आल्सो. तो मेरे को ये 2004 का किस्सा बड़ा अच्छा से याद है सर. What happened was, I had just finished my bios and I had come back, and हमारी पलटन जम्मू के आगे थी, अखनूर में थी. So we got to know that the chief, General NC, which was the chief, he was coming to brief all the officers. So I was retained from my regiment to go there. तो वहां पे गए, तो आर्मी कमांडर थे, को कमांडर थे, जीओसी थे, ब्रिगेड, everybody was there. And General Vij, he saw me from a distance. He saw two stars. He didn't see me. He saw the 2 stars basically. And he सबको हट के अलग से आया. And he shook hands with me. Hello, how are you? And the best rank, the best rank you can ever get. इस तरीके से, and he motivated me. अब the chief, the senior most officer, is motivating the junior most officer. It can be a loud and clear message to everyone कि भाई सबका मोरल अप हो गया बिल्कुल कि भाई this, and I can never forget that. I can never forget
That's the
that.
beauty of army. That's the beauty of army.
Sir,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of army, absolutely. Sir, उसके बाद फिर आप बताइए, then you opted for Gujarat cadre, or how is it you opt for cadres in IAS, और training कितनी लंबी होती है at Labasna, and you just like Fauj में you opt for arms, वैसे you opt for cadres, how is it like, sir? Could you just educate us on slightly on that?
When you pass your mains examination and when you go for the interview, at that time you have to feel your cadre preference. And once your merit list is decided, based on what category you are into, because in army we don't have caste-based reservation. There is no reservation as per your caste is there or as per your different categories are there. But in the civil services, which is much more open and inclusive examination, there are reservation based on all structures. So it depends upon what you have opted for, where you lie in merit, and then your cadre will be decided. So I had opted for Maharashtra cadre, but I got the adjacent state, it being Gujarat, and that is how I landed up into Gujarat cadre.
All right, sir. All right. So it's like choice of arms, मतलब more or less something like that,
Yes,
like
yes,
choice of
yes.
arms.
You have to opt for it, and it depends upon your merit.
Right, sir. Right. And sir, and what is the duration of the training at Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy?
Okay, see, the training for an IAS officer is almost 2 years. Out of that, 1 year you spend in academy. Prior to that, about 3.5 months is a foundational course. So, foundational course is a course where all the batch that includes the Indian Police Service, the Foreign Service, the Revenue Service, Trade Service, Postal Service, every officer who is selected in civil services, like mine is Civil Services 2021, every officer who has passed the Civil Services 2021 and who is joining the service, all those people come to Masuri and they stay for a duration of 3.5 months together. It is with the intention that every officer, like an IS officer, should know who his batchmate is from the IPS, because that's the only place where all of you as a batch are together. After that, people will get posted all to the length and breadth of the country. Never ever they will meet in life. Yes, you do get connected on social media, you do get connected for official purposes, but once you know each other personally, once you're sat together, had a coffee or maybe had a discussion on a certain subjects, you may have quarreled among yourself, but at least you are together for 3.5 months as a batch. And so invariably 2021 batch, I am so comfortable because it is something like your course mates, like the people who passed out in 2002, all your batchmates are all over India. So the connectivity you can have with your batchmate is much more better than a senior or a junior. The same thing happens that all those people, civil services 2021 from the Indian Police Service, someone is in foreign country, in foreign service, someone is in revenue service, at least you have got one-to-one connect with that person because you have been together for 3.5 months. So that is the aim of foundational course. After that starts your Bharat Darshan. So in Bharat Darshan, you go all over the India, right from J&K, Northeast, Andaman, Lakshadweep, Central India, Rajasthan, whole country you see. I was very fortunate and a very
सर आपने एक ऐसे रग पे भी हाथ दे रहा है. आई एम वेरी अटैच्ड टू द नॉर्थ ईस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. आई रियली लव दैट द ब्यूटी ऑफ नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया, बिकॉज मैंने अपनी स्कूलिंग की शुरुआत भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया से करी थी. नर्सरी अरुणाचल प्रदेश से, वहां पे टैंगा वैली से की. तब मेरे फादर की पोस्टिंग तवांग में थी, खिरमू, वी हैड अ गन एरिया ओवर देयर. And of course, then he commanded a brigade from Manipur, from Kachin. And so as an army brat, I spent time in the northeast part of India. फिर मैं ये टाई है 3 कोर की. फिर मैं एडीसी टू जीओसी बनकर आया 3 कोर में, स्पेक कोर. उसके बाद फिर मैं असम राइफल्स में भी गया. और फौज छोड़ने के बाद भी कहते हैं once you cross the Brahmaputra once, you cross it at least 7 times.
7 times. I know. I have crossed it once and I have crossed it 7 times.
That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Sir.
But you know what happened? Invariably, my field posting was with Rashtriya Rifles in J&K. So I was about to tell you a very interesting episode of J&K. So during Bharat Darshan, I was the chairman of the officers club at the academy. Chairman is something as what we have got ACA and AO. So I
Right.
was the chairman of the officers club for the foundational course 97. So I had I planned it that way that I could actually manage the state which I should go for Bharat Darshan. Not every person can go to every state, but there are about 15, 17 groups, and most of them go to most of the states, but half of them will go to Northeast, half of them will go to JNK. It is with the intention of understanding as to how the army is deployed. So in Bharat Darshan, you are attached with the army, correct? And you are attached with the army for almost 15 days. And there
Wow.
is where
All
the
right.
interesting thing comes. 2008, I was the Rashtriya Rifles company commander in Baramulla. I used to conduct this attachment for IAS and IPS officer trainees. They used to come to my COB, and I used to brief them that, okay, this is what Rashtriya Rifles is all about. That is in 2008 to 2010. 3 years I did it consecutively because I was town company commander. I never thought at that time that people who I'm briefing 12 years down the line, I will be myself coming as a student, and a company commander is going to brief me about this. So when I went to the Nurbag COP and I stood there on the COP, the company commander told me that, okay, there is Kali Nagdhar ridge and there is this ridge. After prior to that, this 2001 there used to be terrorist camp, and this is the Jadid area. This is sumo stand. And I was laughing at without, he thought that I was a normal officer trainee. He never knew that 10 years back, 12 years back, I was the company commander of the same post. ठीक है. And then I told me that he told me there is a जदीद मस्जिद है वहां पे, मस्जिद के अंदर ना एक पीर बाबा बैठते बहुत फेमस है. तो आई टोल्ड हिम पीर बाबा के बेटे का नाम भी, एंड आई टोल्ड हिम सुमो स्टैंड का तो चीफ था, उनका जो कोऑर्डिनेटर फ्रूट ये मोहल्ले प्रेसिडेंट है उनका चीफ कौन था. देन आई टोल्ड कपल ऑफ पॉलिटिकल पर्सनालिटी. बोला आप इधर से ही हो क्या, आपको जानते हो क्या? बोला नहीं यार, वो तेरा बोर्ड पीछे लगा हुआ है ना कंपनी कमांडर, तो उसको देख ले, ठीक है. तेरे से पहले जो 20-25 कंपनी कमांडर्स गए ना 2008 में, यू विल फाइंड माय नेम ऑन दैट बोर्ड. एंड दे सेड, ओ सर मेरे को तो पता ही नहीं था. आपके बारे में सुना था मैंने, that one of the officers have become a IAS officer, but I never knew that you are that person. मैं बोला, it is so nice to come to your own COB. And then the CO organized a troops with tea with troops, and I went to my officers mess, which was just about 3-4 kilometers in Baramulla. And that was, you feel like crying going back to your own battalion. That is how, when filled, the emotions are always very high. You'll always remember the postings as an officer when you actually held a AK-47 in your hand and you went out on operations. You're very emotional about it. So this were, Rashtriya Rifles for about 2.5 to 3 years were some of the most wonderful days of my life. Going back to those places and revisiting them as an IAS officer was incredible experience.
Wow, this is really interesting. So this is like, अक्सर जैसे मैंने आपको नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया के बारे में बताया, मैं एयरपोर्ट पे या मॉल में किसी को देखता हूँ फ्रॉम नॉर्थ ईस्ट पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया, मैं फीचर्स देख के पहचान लेता हूँ सर कि आप कौन सी ट्राइब, कौन सी कम्युनिटी, कौन से विलेज, कौन से क्षेत्र से आते हैं. तो आई वॉक अप टू देम, एंड अक्सर ये लोग या तो कुछ बात कर रहे होंगे मेरे बारे में, क्योंकि आई लुक एट देम विद वेरी इंटेंडिंग आइज कि भाई मेरे को बात करनी है इनसे, तो कुछ ना कुछ अपने आपस में अपनी भाषा में बात कर रहे होंगे. तो मैं बस सुनता हूँ, एंड देन आई आस्क देम, किनिका আছে, ভাল আছে, বেশি ভাল আছে, মই লাগানো মালিবা আছে, मैं भी लगा আছে, वही लोग लोग किना बेची कुछ पैसे है. तो वो है ये हमारी भाषा कैसे बोल रहे हैं. तो उसके बाद तो वही वाली फीलिंग आई कुड कोरिलेट विद व्हाट यू द कंपनी कमांडर वाज लाइक. आपने वो आपको ब्रीफिंग दिया था, आपने पूरी उल्टी बैकवर्ड बता दिया, ये है. दैट्स सो लवली सर, दैट्स सो हार्टनिंग. किसी ने बहुत खूब फरमाया सर, you can take a person out of the military, but you cannot take the military out of that person. That's something.
Right.
One soldier, always a soldier. Sir. And so how has the journey been so far as a bureaucrat? Now a lot of फौजीज and civilians, they would be looking up to you कि भाई, and खास तौर से फौज में तो सब कहते हैं कि भाई, आप एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं कि अरे सो एंड सो, अच्छा इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी है कि हर कोई फौज से आया है तो वो ये रूट निकालेगा, ब्यूरोक्रेट बनना है. सर लोग ये रूट निकाल रहे हैं, पता है. आई डोंट नो इफ यू अवेयर और नॉट, यंगस्टर्स वो आप मेरा लेते हैं, कहते हैं सर हम फौज में आएंगे, इतने साल सर्विस करेंगे, फिर हम आईएएस में जाएंगे. मैं कहता हूँ भैया ठीक है, अच्छी बात है, फौज में आना है तो आओ, बट इफ यू वांट टू बिकम अ ब्यूरोक्रेट, व्हाई डू यू वांट टू जॉइन द आर्मी? देन गो एंड बिकम अ ब्यूरोक्रेट. नहीं सर वो आपका नाम लेते हैं, नहीं सर वो रूट है, वो रूट नहीं है, वो तो सर ने किया है. There's a message for all those people who take your name, that sir did it out of passion. He wanted to join the military, he wanted to join the army, and now he's a bureaucrat. So if you want to be a bureaucrat, go and become a bureaucrat. Don't have to take on that route. I say, sir. So sir, how's been the journey so far, sir?
Wonderful. And landing up in like in army, you may not get the service or maybe the arm of your own choice or the regiment of your own choice. But once you are commissioned into that regiment becomes your home. So that is what happened with me. I did opted for Maharashtra and landed up into Gujarat. But I'm so fortunate that I have landed up into one of the most vibrant states in the country. And the change we see as far as the Gujarat economy is concerned, the change we see as far as the dynamism of the country itself is concerned, like in last about 10 years, not 10 years, in last 8 years, the Indian economy, which was at 10th place, has come to 4th place now. As of now, we are the largest and the fastest growing economy in the world. Correct. And the number of the quantity of poor people who have come out of poverty is phenomenal. So this phase, starting from 15 16 till today, is a phenomenal phase. And all those people who got an opportunity to serve the country as an army officer and an IAS officer, and who are going to continue till the Amrit Kal, which is 2047, are phenomenal people. All those people, like my grandfather must have cultivated his fields, his grandfather cultivated his fields, his grandfather cultivated his fields, and my father till half of his age cultivated his fields. But I see that I have started a life where mobile used to be a big rod of Motorola, weighing about half a kg, and today I see that you can talk on your on your watch with the Apple Watch, and you can talk on phone. I have seen that change, and you have seen that change, and we as a generation have seen that change. That is what the India today is going through. So I guess till date it has been a wonderful experience. uh, Gujarat specifically is a very different state, because we call it more of a corporate governance. Here the accountability towards people is very high. People are acquainted with their rights, and they are not afraid of exercising their rights as far as their knowledge about those rights is concerned. Even the political system in Gujarat is wonderful. The relationship between the bureaucracy and the politician is very good. Absolutely, there is freedom to work. There is so much of motivation at all the level. There is so much of independence to work at all the level. And I really think I'm really fortunate to land up in Gujarat.
So that's very nice, sir. So Gujarat ka naam lete hain. And before we let you go, sir, recently, abhi, just about a few days back only, गुजरात ने बहुत जबरदस्त मेगा इंटरनेशनल इवेंट किया था, वाइब्रेंट गुजरात. So, and you and your team was like really busy. Everybody from Gujarat was in the government service was like extremely busy. And so could you tell us a bit about the vibrant Gujarat, sir?
Okay, vibrant Gujarat, I told you, Gujarat being an IAS officer is more like a corporate leader. So, there must be the government and the complete bureaucracy was busy with Vibrant Gujarat for about 2 months or so. This sort of events keep happening after every 2 years. Vibrant Gujarat is a biennial, which happens after every 2 years. But there are different events which happen at the district level, which happen at the state level, and where the involvement of the system is, fairly big. As far as Vibrant Gujarat is concerned, phenomenal event. Nowhere I think this sort of event is conducted, where the prime minister with couple of we have got the country heads coming, like the president of UAE, and we have got multiple heads coming. We had ambassadors coming, we had ministers coming, we had almost 32 foreign delegations coming with their representatives and showcasing their intent of investing in Gujarat. I think this is a new episode, not only in phase of Gujarat, but in whole phase of our country as such. So I guess wonderful experience, so much of investment, which I'm sure I don't have the statistical data about it, but it must be on a huge scale. And that is what, as I told you, that is what India in future we are looking to be.
Right, sir. Absolutely, sir. On that note, India, the future we are looking to be, and sir, I wish you a whole lot of success for your future as well, and a lot of आप वैसे इतने popular हैं इतने, and you are what I loved. I must tell you, sir. I have to confess this to you. So मैं अपने फ्रेंड्स को ही बोला था, मैं सर को जब एक कॉल किया, सर ने बिल्कुल ब्रदर ऑफिसर, ये नहीं कि ब्यूरोक्रेट बात कर रहा है, सर ने बिल्कुल मेरे लेवल पे आके फौजी की तरह बात की हुई है सर. सर, thank you so much, and sincerely thank you for your time, sir.
Once army man, always army man. ऐसे होता है, हम कितनी भी बात कर लेना, we'll always be close to each other. There's absolutely no second thought.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That's so kind of you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so
I
much.
wish you Jai Hind, sir.
Thank you, and Jai Hind.